What's up, guys? Back here with another episode on the channel, The Jam, where we talk about anime, manga, music, and much more. Today we have a very special guest, Ashe O'Hara. How's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing good.
Just
Uh,
losing my mind in my flat.
how's the weather up there, man?
It's been raining all day.
Well,
But yeah, I mean, I was away for the weekend. I was out of town. Don't tell anyone. I know this has been broadcast, but yeah, no, it was really nice weather over the weekend. It was my birthday on Saturday, so I kind of had a little bit of a celebration. But yeah, it's a bit morbid out there at the moment. So I've been inside all day. So
that's too bad. I would say on the flip side, it's pretty sunny here. It's been snowy for a while, and I'm actually wearing shorts right now. So
ah,
doing.
yeah, jealous.
Let's jump right into it. First question for you. I mean, I can kind of already tell from your accent, but where are you from? You want to let everybody know?
Well, I'll be happy to be more specific than
Yeah.
British. Yeah, I'm from England. I'm originally from Northampton, which is like smack bang in the centre, in the Midlands, known for its shoes and its rugby. But yeah, I've lived there for 21 years. Currently living in Cambridgeshire, which is about an hour away, but not too far. But yeah, there's not really much of a huge like scene in this area. You know, respectively to metal or well just anything really. It's a bit countryside-esque, so but it's kind of nice to be out of the hustle and bustle, which I did experience when I lived in Brighton.
Oh, nice. I'm sure most people are curious to know, at what age did you start singing?
I really don't know. I mean, it's weird because obviously people always say to me like it's what you've always wanted to do and you're doing it. Like I've literally sang my entire life, ever since I was little. I remember writing my first song when I was like 8. It was awful, but it was a song. Like I've heard worse in the charts. So, but yeah, I've just been doing it my whole life, pretty much. It's the one passion that's kind of carried through everything into adulthood. So,
That's cool, man. Did it take a lot of practice and hard work, or is it just kind of came natural for you?
I like to think a bit of like a mix of the two. Um, I was always told you've got a gift, like when I was little. So it was kind of, more encouraged. And from probably age 9 or 10, I've been in choirs. I've been taking vocal lessons. It's pretty much been my major throughout school, my higher education as well. I studied music technology, music practice, and then I went to get a songwriting degree at university. So I like to think it's a bit of both. I've tried to hone in those skills that I've been blessed with. I'd say I've taken, I'd probably say not kind of taken a backseat to the vocal discipline and the vocal training over the last probably like 10 years. More focusing on like my creativity side, like the songwriting aspect, which is something I'm really passionate about. But yeah, I like to think it's at least natural talent and practice and some hard work. So yeah.
That's cool, man. Can you tell me what are some of your biggest influences?
I mean, ever since I was little, I would say Alanis Morissette as a songwriter has heavily influenced my music. Specifically the way that she writes and the things that she discusses. Like some of it can be really incredibly personal, which can be alienating, but it's true to herself. So I've always loved Anne Boleyn, which I'm sure you're aware of who they are. Like
Yeah, I've heard of them.
I taught yeah, like I reckon there's like 10 people in the UK that are like, oh yeah, I love them, but like people tend not to like them. But or well, I've never heard of them, but I was literally obsessed with everything they did. Also Thrice.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
and
freaking big fan right here, man.
oh, thank goodness. No, honestly, Thrice have been with me since Artist in the Ambulance and
Hey, man.
just everything they do. Yeah, like this is the thing. Like when I talk about metal to people who aren't metal listeners, I use them as an example a lot of the time because people have this preconception of what metal music is. and Thrice kind of enjoy breaking down those barriers all the time, which is another reason why I love them, and the vocalist as well, Dustin. And I'd say Imogen Heap as well.
Heck yeah, man. Freaking love her voice.
Yes. No, that's it. You know, anything, I like people that can do things that I can't do a lot of the time, or I aspire to do. And Imogen Heap's definitely one of those people, because she's very out there. Very, very experimental as well. So I mean, that would be my influences, like from a songwriting aspect. Vocally, I'm gonna get gay here. Loved Celine Dion from a young age. Like her skill and her discipline vocally has been incredible. Freddie Mercury as well. And yeah, Dustin Kensrue from Thrice. Like there's just, again, it's about people who can do things that I can't do. I've got a very pure voice, as people slate it, not in a negative way, but just the way that they describe it. And he's very husky and very gravelly, and it's like very sexy sometimes. So
yeah, I was gonna say I'm a huge fan of Dustin Kensrue's voice. Just curious, do you have a favorite Thrice album? Because for me, it's pretty hard to pick.
I mean, I would probably, if I had to pick out of all of them, I'd probably say To Be Everywhere Is to Be Nowhere, which was their 2015 album with like Hurricane and Black Honey, Stay With Me, Whistleblower.
Really, really good.
Yeah, like it felt like there was, again, like every album's different with them. They kind of have, they stay on the same hemisphere of music, but like it can be very different. And like that album, it's just quality songs, very simply done. Like sometimes I like to get really left field with it, but that one is just to me is pure quality heavy rock metal music. And I mean, I love Artists in the Ambulance will always be a favorite, because it was one of the first albums that I listened to that really got me into metal. So
that's cool. That was,
yeah, and it's not your typical, like, people are like Slipknot, Nine Inch Nails, like Marilyn Manson, some people to some degree, but yeah, Thrice is just, they've always been really experimental and tried to kind of think outside the box, and I really like that.
Yeah, my gateway band to metal was Linkin Park. That was the first time I ever heard screaming, or I guess hard rock, and I was like, what is this stuff? This is like really good.
Yeah, no, yeah, agreed. Absolutely. I mean, they're like, what I guess they class them as like new metal, NU metal.
Yeah.
With obviously rap metal, but yeah, honest, Meteor is an incredible album. So yeah.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna kind of go off what you said about Thrice. The thing I really love about them is they don't really hold themselves in one category or one box. They're not afraid to kind of step out and try something a little bit different. And they're one of the bands that's been able to constantly make quality music regardless of what direction they choose to go in. So
it's a testament to all their talents. Yeah,
I got a lot of respect for them guys, and that's why it's so hard to pick an album, because I personally love the Alchemy Index ones. I think there's like two of them. They're one of the bands that I usually save for a special occasion, because I really like their stuff a lot. And like Beggars has it's a really good album. It's more like the indie rock type, but it's still really good.
I didn't really resonate with Beggars much, but Alchemy Index was so good. And Visu. Yeah,
I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but that's a really good one too. So definitely, I think how I actually found them was my chemistry teacher in high school like played them on the projector, and I was like, what is this? Like, they're playing like rock or metal in school. This man.
Best chemistry lesson ever.
Shout out to her. But yeah, I guess also, since you mentioned Imogen Heap, I remember the first time I heard her, I think it was Hide and Seek or something. I'm like, this is like, I can't even describe this. She has like one of the most interesting, cool voices that I've ever heard. She's very talented as far as like on the musical side too, as far as writing and playing, because I know she plays the piano or keyboard also.
She plays the everything. Like she's created gloves. Like
yeah.
musical gloves.
I think I saw part of a documentary that was on a DVD. We just went out to this cabin and wrote this CD for like 2 years. Everything on it is things that she came up with. I will say I enjoy pop music, but not the normal pop stuff. Stuff that's like very creative, different, and it just stands out and has actually, thought out lyrics and not just the typical, mainstream stuff. So there are still
Yeah.
some good singers in the mainstream that have very good voices, but as far as lyrical content, it's probably not the best, or I can't resonate much with it.
No, no, I agree. I think there's a reason for that as well. Like, it's a lot of this. Something I hear a lot is like, pop is music for people who aren't musicians. Like, it's pop is for the civilian, like, and
Yeah.
metal or like rock or jazz or classical is for like the musician, the more articulate, like, in that field, because they can understand the compound, like, intricacies of those genres. And yeah, so like, but obviously you get your hybrids as well, like you get your pop metal, which kind of bring the two together. I mean, I really love pop. I recently like got right into Miley Cyrus's new album, which I never ever thought in my wild life that I would ever do that. But it feels like, again, she's showing more vulnerability, and she's showing a little bit more rough around the edges with this new album, and
Yeah.
it just feels less industrial, like industry expectations of what pop should be.
Yeah.
And she's finally coming into her own, which is really good to see. But yeah, no, I totally get the alienation from pop music. And yeah, lyrically speaking, it isn't always a sonnet. Like, it really isn't.
Yeah. I think on Imogen Heap's newest album, if I remember correctly, I can't remember what it's called because I think I've heard it maybe twice, but there's a couple songs that it's, how like guitar players just kind of shred, and sometimes it seems like, oh, they're just showing off what they got. She's just, I don't think she's really doing it on purpose, but she's just so good. It's like, hey, look at all these cool ranges I can do and all these interesting things. And I'm just sitting there, this is crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, the vocal acrobatics. She's got a really good, like, I think the thing that really sets her apart is, vocally speaking, she has the ability to change registers really easily. It's
Yeah.
kind of akin to like a yodel, and it lends itself so well to what she's doing, because it is quite unique. And she's not like a belter, she's not like a power singer. She kind of, it's a what you call a bedroom voice, but she kind of makes up for the modesty of that in everything else that she does. So
Yeah. I guess you kind of already answered this a little bit, but I was going to ask, what type of music do you enjoy singing most? I think you said pop, I would imagine, or
I do really like pop. I just think, like, because I was brought up on pop and rock and metal, and I do have that kind of voice that does lend itself well to pop. And a lot of the vocalists that I were influenced by as a child were ballad pop singers. But yeah, like, I'd love a good ballad. If I'm going to karaoke, I'll probably do something a little bit softer, like, you know, Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, or like a Bon Jovi belter or something like that, or Rihanna. Like, but yeah, I just think pop is just it's in my comfortable realm, so I find it quite fun and easy to perform.
so do you find rock or metal singing with that a little bit more challenging?
It can be. I mean, I think over the last few years, I mean, I'm sure we'll get onto the discussion of voices, but like, when I kind of was first known on the metal scene, obviously it was through Tesseract, and there was definitely an expectation of what I'm supposed to sound like, because I was replacing someone. And I think over the years I've kind of stripped that back and just done what I feel comfortable and want to do.
Yeah.
And now it's a case of me using my abilities, like, what I'm comfortable singing, like the pop style that I like to sing, or R&B, soulful kind of voice, and lending, like, like merging that with the alternative metal music that I like to listen to and I like to write to. So yeah, like, just kind of infusing it together. So I'm bringing my strengths to the style that I want to be like working with in some way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, that's cool. Actually reminded me of because you're not the only one that was in metal that kind of brings a different influence of pop or like R&B or something. I'm sure you've probably heard of a couple of these. Johnny Craig
I knew
and
you were going to say Johnny Craig, and he's on my list.
oh,
What are your
nice.
favorite bands or artists? So
Oh, great.
the second you said that, I was like, he's going to mention Johnny Craig. He's going to say Slaves.
But I'd
Yeah.
say him, Tillian from Dance Gavin Dance. He's another one. His voice is like kind of outside of what post-hardcore or metal would be, but it's so
Mhm.
good. It just fits in so great in that band.
You've just reminded me as well. There's another band that I recently discovered. I mean, I've known the vocalists. I think through Tesseract, but I've known of him anyway. But I never really listened and didn't really notice that he had a band. Philip Strand. He's in a band called Normandy.
I
Have
don't
you
know
heard
if
of
I've
him?
heard of them, but I should check them
You
out,
need
I'm
to
guessing.
listen. You definitely need to check them out. He's incredibly
Okay.
talented. The music is very like their older stuff, like their first two albums are very, it's right on the fence of metal and rock. Like,
Yeah.
but he has a lot of pop elements, and like the way he likes to sing is very pop-esque. And they've just released a new album last month. So but yeah, they're definitely an obsession at the moment.
Nice. The last one I was thinking of was Tyler Carter from, I believe, Issues.
Yeah, Philip actually is a big fan of Issues, and he I think he's kind of grew to prominence in the metal scene from doing covers on YouTube, and one of them was an Issues cover. I haven't really heard much of Issues. I heard of them through that performance, so I will take your word for it, but I'm sure it's good.
Yeah, I always think it's really cool when somebody with a different background or a different vibe gets put into mixed with metal or hard rock or
Mm.
whatever type of, thing. And it just creates for a whole new sound or, it just sounds like completely different, which is cool because in any genre, bands or singers or artists can sound similar sometimes. So it's always good to find something that stands out. It's kind of a, something fresh,
You
something
got to
new.
have that USP. You do. Yeah, there's too many people doing the same thing, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just everyone's. There's so many bands out there now, and you've got to find a way to like stand out.
Yeah, I agree. You already touched on it for a sec. So go ahead and tell me your favorite bands or artists that you have.
Yeah, well, Normandy definitely. Like recently, I've been obsessed with them. And Slaves. Well, particularly the album Beautiful Death, which was the last Johnny Craig album, I believe. I went for a breakup last year, and like every single song just seems to resonate with me. It's the same with Muna. Have you heard of Muna?
I don't think I have. Another
They're
one I should
like
check out.
definitely like they're like a trio queer like electro pop rock band. They're American. I think they might be Californian. And yeah, they released. I think they've got two albums out. I imagine a new one's going to drop soon. But they're very like different to the other stuff I've listed, and it's probably I would say since Anne Boleyn and In This Moment, which is another one of my favorite bands.
Nice.
I would say they're like definitely my current fave. I cannot stop listening to their music, and again, it's the lyrics. It's very, very pop, very 80s, like synth, like the new wave synth kind of stuff, which again, I'm really into. But yeah, the lyrics are very personal. They're very. It's all about the emotions, and it's all about love, heartbreak, politics, and stuff like that. So yeah, In This Moment as well.
What do you like better, old in this moment or new in this moment?
Hmm. I like in the middle somewhere, like
Yeah,
Blood, Black Widow, Star-Crossed Wastelands. I like some of their new stuff. Like I love the In Between. Because they did Ritual. Was that Ritual? What was the last album they did that came out? Was it last year?
I think so. I don't think I got around to listening to it, but I
Can't
followed them
remember.
pretty heavily in the first couple albums.
Yeah, like I mean, I think I discovered them after Blood came out, which is obviously probably still their biggest album, either that or Black Widow. But yeah, I just love, again, I love the freedom of like sexual expression, and like she comes from a, like, Maria Brink is an incredible vocalist, and
Yeah.
you know, even back in the day when they weren't big, they would put on such great shows, like live shows. They've really worked for what they've got now. And I mean, yeah, I haven't really listened to the latest album, but I've always loved them.
Say for me, the first album is probably my favorite because it was one of the first female vocalists that I've ever heard scream, and I thought that was like super awesome. And then I'll be honest, the first album, the singing is okay. Like it's not probably the greatest, but I feel like every album she's gotten better with her voice, like sounding better.
Hmm. Well,
So
I feel like it's a really good, they're a really good example of like them, like a band coming into their own, because
yeah,
I don't really listen to their first album very much. And I feel like there is a big divide between the first album and the rest of it,
yeah, I'd
because
agree.
yeah, like I don't know if it's a production element, but her voice does change a lot. I think the production does have a part in it. But yeah, you can tell that something changed, and she just is a lot more comfortable in what she's doing now.
Yeah.
So
Was Tesseract your first band that you were in, or were there other bands before that?
it always marvels me that people ask this, because I'm surprised that people still don't know that I was in Voices from the Fuselage before I was in Tesseract.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that, man.
Yeah, like I mean, it'll be 11 years this year. We're a college band.
Nice.
Um, and we released an EP in 2011. So yeah, they were my first band, and probably my last band by the looks of it. But yeah, no other bands except for like little small college bands that just were projects and stuff like that. And I've done a lot of collaborations.
Nice.
But yeah, my first band is VFTF.
Do you have a favorite track off the record, Altered State?
Um, I mean, I do love. I mean, the whole album is just. It's like a little. It's like a cake. You don't want to cut slices in it. Like
Yeah.
I would say Resist probably.
That's probably my favorite too, man.
Oh, brilliant. No, it's like um, I don't know if it's because of the personal influence behind that song. It was about someone I really cared deeply about, something that wasn't reciprocated, and I don't know. I love the lyrics. I just love the melodies, the chord progressions, the emotions that it imbues. And to me, it just always hits me the hardest, I guess. Um, I love Exile as well. And I mean, I can't remember. I think it was Moss that said when we were recording it, like, you know, the bit that's like, I think I say, take this doubt and fear to your grave, but it's like on every turn of the phrase of the polyrhythm, and gradually grows like extra levels of harmony, but they're like dissonant harmonies. And he was just like, oh, it sounds like Imogen Heap. And I was just like, yes, I've done my
I
job.
like best compliment ever.
Success, yeah. And he was like, this is what Imogen Heap would sound like over a metal track. And I was like, thank you. Like, that's amazing.
That's a really, really cool thing to say.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about how it came to be that you got into Tesseract? Did they hit you up? Did you try out or?
I did. I mean, I didn't really know them very much before. I mean, I'd heard of them because Voices, like, when I refer, I'll say Voices. That'll be VFTF. Like from here on, it's the same
Gotcha.
time, I think. We're actually thinking of rebranding to just VFTF, so it's a lot easier. I think that will help, but let's hope. But yeah, I did a lot of gigs with VFTF at the, like, around Northamptonshire and like Buckinghamshire, so, which is in the Midlands, like, and there's a place in Wolverton called the Crawford Arms, which was like our regular spot to gig a lot. And Ackle, who is from Buckinghamshire, is from Milton Keynes, which is literally the neighbouring town to Wolverton. Obviously had a lot of connections with the people who work, like the promoters and the people who run the gigs. And yeah, they just kind of, my EP came out, and one of the promoters basically suggested me to Ackle and was like, you need to listen to this guy, like, I know you guys are looking for a vocalist. And yeah, like just one day randomly when I was at uni, like I got a message from Apple. And this was after I'd obviously listened to one and was just blown away. And he was just like, I can't remember his original message, but it was just like, would you be interested in perhaps trying out for it? And immediately I like told the band, I was just like, guys, you'd never guess what, like, and yeah, like, so I went to Reading, which is not too far, maybe a couple hours away from the Midlands, and basically had a little jam with them, like just did a few of the songs, just kind of went over and over and over it a bit. And yeah, they like, I don't know if they had I think they said they had a couple people that they had a couple of people try it out with them. But yeah, they one day, like I think Jay called me and was just like, yeah, we'd wanna take you on full time. So yeah, that's what happened. It was surreal.
You already were like a pretty big fan of them because you said you listened to the one album.
Yeah, absolutely. Like just again blown away by the talent. And I mean, going into it, I was like, this is a heavy band, like, and I'm not a heavy person. Like, I mean, I'm heavy, but I'm not a heavy person. And changing the way that I perform. And no, yeah, there was a lot of pressure with making album 2. And it's not like I was demanded, it wasn't demanded of me to like sing a certain way, but it was like, if you could lean in more towards the, you know, the rough vocals, like the gravelly singing and pitched screaming, as they call it. And, you know, it was very difficult for me just because it's not my forte. And I have over the years, like kind of had to like adapted to knowing what my strengths are and like, you know, kind of letting them shine, as opposed to trying to be more aggressive, because that's what I think the metal fans want. But then a lot of the time, people who like my music or, you know, my singing, is because that's not what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
You know, again, like Johnny Craig or like Philip Strand, like they're people who are doing what they want to do, and they're doing it over the music that they want to do. And if it's fusion, if it's something different, so be it. Someone's going to like it. And yeah, I just kind of tried to maintain that mentality.
So I guess I could tell you about the first time I heard Altered State. I can't remember if I think I heard a couple songs by Tesseract before that, but that was like, oh, this is the new album coming out. I'm like, I'm gonna check it out. And my first thought was, it's really good. I remember that I really enjoyed the singing, but I wasn't sure how I felt about it compared to meshing with the music. But the more I listened to it, I loved it more and more every time. I'm gonna say hands down, the album that you're on is probably my favorite, even though I really like the other albums that they do with Dan.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, no, I hear that a lot, and it is amazing to hear that, because like one was such a good album, and like the idea that there's like a large group of people out there that feel that I've in some way contributed to improving on that, like that's amazing to me. Like,
It's definitely one of those albums that the more I hear it, the more I love it, as opposed to some albums that if you hear it too much, it's like, it's not as good as I used to think it was, or it's
I've
getting
heard
old.
everything I need to hear. Yeah.
What's some favorite bands that you've toured with?
I mean, definitely Periphery, just because they're wild and they're a great laugh. Same with Monuments, like just because they're close friends to the bands, like they've all done a lot of tours together. It was just so family-esque, we just had a really good time. I'd say specifically Devin Townsend projects were amazing. It was really weird because when I was with them, I think, where was I at the time? I think I was in Australia when we were doing Soundwave, and Devin Townsend project was there for the same reason. And we met with some of them, and I think my sister was dating someone who, and my sister's like, I mean, she's a metalhead, but like, she's not in any way involved in the metal music scene. She was like dating someone whose sister was like really good friends with DTP, and like it was just so weird. And my sister was like, oh yeah, can you mention this girl? Like, and I mentioned it to them, and they were like, oh my god, you know them. Like, it was just so weird, but like, small world. But yeah, really, really, really nice guys. a great band to watch. And I mean, my other personal favorite would be Lamb of God, just because it's Lamb of God. Like, and it was not too long after Randy obviously came out, after the incident in, I think it was Russia, where there was basically a bouncer had pushed someone off this, like a fan off the stage, and he was trampled to death. And Randy spent quite some time in a Russian prison. And he was, I mean, it was heavily publicized, and he was deeply affected by it. And like, just to meet him and talk to him, like, and just about that, and like the rest of the band may have had a little bit, you know, of fun with them. But yeah, Randy was definitely a changed person, and I don't know, it was just really nice to see how much he cared about the fans, and like that obviously reinstated it for him. And at the beginning of every show, he was just like, that we're here to have fun. No one needs to die. Like, it's just ridiculous that all that happened. But yeah, definitely personal favorite, just because they really touched me deeply. And Chris Adler, who is like my biggest fan. It's amazing. Like, he even asked, he emailed me like long after we'd toured together, saying like, we're looking for guest vocalists for the new Log album. Like, would you be interested? And I was like, yes, 1,000 times yes. Like, I wasn't what they were looking for, which is absolutely fine. But the fact that someone in Lamb of God was like, I want Ashe on my album, like, that was incredible. Like,
that is really cool, man.
That's like my claim to fame. Like, when I talk about him, like, that's the name that I drop. Like,
yeah, nice. So do you have a dream tour, like bands that you would love to tour with?
Just a tour at this point would be great. Just live music.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I've been like, you can probably tell, like, we haven't been big on the live music scene, like BFTF. Like, we've taken things very slow over the last few years. A lot of it has to do with our personal circumstances. We all live quite far away from each other. And I think the last live gig I did was October 2019, and it was with, it was like it was with Voices, and it was in Holland. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've done a live show. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because, like, if I did do a gig, like, I'd want to do a gig with like loads of different types of music in it, and I just know that just doesn't stand in this.
That'd be cool though, man. I've always wanted to see some kind of crazy lineup. I mean, I've seen a couple times where they had a hardcore band, a rap band, and like, I don't know, some other type of stuff. I was like, that's really cool, even though I don't know if I'd personally want to see those particular bands. I'm like,
was Hacktivist headlining by any chance?
I don't think that was the exact one, but they're pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'd love to, like, all the bands that I listed, like In This Moment, Muna, Thrice, Normandy, like, just get them all on board. But
that'd be cool, man.
Yeah, I've always been, I guess, more introverted when it comes to my music listening. I'd much rather listen to a record than mosh live, like in a live performance.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. As much as I love concerts though, I don't go in the mosh pit. I just kind of headbang and jump around and sing with the music and have a good time.
Yeah, it's all right directing the mosh pit, like telling people to mosh, but like, and being in the line of fire is a different story. So yeah, I think I prefer being on the stage.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I can talk about when I saw Tesseract live. Both times I've seen them live, you were the vocalist. The first time,
sorry.
No, it was amazing, dude. Like the first time I saw you guys, you were touring with, I believe, Intronaut and Cult of Luna or something.
Intronaut and Cloud Kicker? Oh no, it might have been Cult of Luna. No, Cult of Luna was that. Cult of Luna was with Catatonia.
Yeah,
I think the tour. Band.
I couldn't remember who it was. Yeah.
I think I think it changed halfway through. We started supporting another band halfway through as well. Yeah, that was just the itinerary.
That was for me like super memorable because I mainly went to see Tesseract. I mean, I heard of Intronaut and I ended up really liking their music. I kind of discovered them there and was like, wow, I need to check them out. Wasn't so much into Cult of Luna. I felt like for me personally, their songs are just very, very long, had a very long build up, and then all of a sudden got really good, but it just took too long for the build up for me. I mean, I know people
Mm.
enjoy them, that's totally fine. Um, Catatonia was pretty good, but I still remember when you
Love
guys,
Catatonia.
yeah, when you guys played, I was just like, dude, this is so good live. I felt like I couldn't even breathe. I was just like, dude, this is so good. Like seriously.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you.
And
I've had
you,
some really bad performances. I'll hold my hand up, but it must have been a good
well,
day.
I'm gonna call bull crap on that, but no, just because the second time I saw you guys, you even said after the performance or towards the end, yeah, I've been sick all week, and I'm just like, dude, how do you freaking nail these notes and you're like sick? I'm like, this is crazy.
Honestly, it's so demanding as well. Like there was so many days that I'd say I get sick, but it's literally just fatigue, like oral fatigue,
Yeah,
no pun intended. Like just constantly night after night doing like an hour set, and it just takes it out of you, especially when it's like you want to give your all every time. And
yeah.
uh, yeah, there was a few shows that I couldn't sing. There was one show where I mean, I must have had like tonsillitis or something. It was a one-off show in the UK, and I did the set, but I was awful. Like I was so bad. I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, and just, I mean, the whole crowd just sang for me, which was really nice. But like,
Yeah.
it was a shame. Like, it really was.
But yeah, I still remember that the first time I think you guys only played like for a half hour. But right after this, I looked at my buddy and I was like, worth it because you guys were like the main band we came to see. So I was just
Yeah,
like,
if it was Catatonia, we would have done. Yeah, it would have been a support length, wouldn't it? So probably a
yeah,
half an hour set. And it's
yeah,
a shame because obviously Tesseract, their songs are like 8 minutes long, so half an hour is like, oh, we can do 3 songs.
pretty much.
Enjoy, yeah. It's just like,
Yeah. Tesseract started with Dan, and then you joined the band, and then he.
technically no.
Oh,
Technically, they didn't start with Dan.
huh.
There was two vocalists before him. One was very temporary, and the other was Abby Sola, which I don't know if you know of him. He actually did some of Concealing Fate um, before Dan.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm technically the fifth vocalist, I think,
Dang.
if you go by that.
I had no idea. So sometimes bands switch vocalists. I've noticed that probably the biggest one for discussion in the metal scene is Killswitch Engage because I heard them with Jesse first, and I was into it, but I wasn't like super into it until I heard Howard on the albums, and I was like, dude, I really like his voice. I like both vocalists a lot, but it's funny because you always got these people like Howard's better. He should still be in the band, and then you got people like, oh, Jesse's better. You can enjoy all
Sounds
the albums,
familiar.
yeah. But
Sounds very
honestly,
familiar.
yeah, honestly, that's I guess the same way with many bands. But I feel like you can enjoy each album individually. But yeah,
Yeah, no, honestly, like I mean, I applaud people's passion,
yeah,
but I just don't have the energy. Like, I mean, I could stand here and say like, or sit here and say that, Slaves is nothing without Johnny Craig, because I don't really listen to them without,
yeah,
the stuff post Johnny Craig. Same with Emarosa, same with Dance Gavin Dance. Like, but like, why would I vocalize that, and why would I vocalize that to the people who are involved in the band? Like, it's just going to
yeah,
make them feel, this isn't politics. Like, it's not like
yeah,
you can have an election and be like, Johnny Craig is back in the band whether he likes it or not. Like, he's in prison. I don't care if he's in prison, he's in the band. Like,
yeah.
you can't do that. Like, but yeah, again, it's just like, it's the exact same. Like, the whole Ashe was better act, Dan was better act. Like, yeah.
You're not gonna say this band is nothing without this singer. The musicians still continue to be, really good. But I would say that there are bands that I don't really find myself listening to as much or much anymore because a certain vocalist left and I really, really like their stuff. And the new vocalist, not saying they're bad, I'm just not really, as into them as I was before. But I mean, that's kind of a, I guess, chance they take. And I mean, things happen. Life happens. Like sometimes people have to leave for a certain reason or, family or whatever. And that's totally understandable. To me personally, I'm like, I can just go back to enjoy those albums that I love And if the band's not the same, that's okay. Maybe somebody else will, love those newer CDs with the other vocalist just as much as I love the older ones. Enjoy what you like and let other people enjoy, if it's changed and you're not as into it, they can enjoy that.
Yeah, no, that's the thing as well. I think people just forget that there's people, there's human beings at the end of these bands, like,
Yeah.
and they're just like, no, you're here to entertain me. Like, this isn't good enough. Like, but
Yeah.
people leave. People, there's serious personal issues that people have that they need to take care of, or creative differences or conflicts in the band, or like, I mean, the only people I can think of right now is like Pentatonics. Their baritone bass vocalist had to leave, and he was like absolutely heartbroken, and like he gets loads of hate because it's like, well, come back, like you should be in. It's just like, no, like it's not. It doesn't work like that. Just give people the respect to do what they want.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree with you, man. I was really happy to find Voices after I found out that, you were no longer in Tesseract, which I mean, like I said, I really love Altered State. And I was like, all right, we got one great album. I'm cool with that. And then I checked out Voices and I was like, heck yeah, more of this like really good stuff. So
more music, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
brilliant. No, I'm glad you like it. I mean, it surprises me still, like, that people don't actually know about VFTF just simply through the connection of Tesseract, where people are like, oh, I wish Ash would come back. Like, what, is he ever going to join another band? And it's like, you could Google this and save yourself a whole lot of embarrassment, but
Yeah, pretty much.
but yeah.
What's the origin of the band name for Voices? Like, did you guys have a specific idea that for it, or?
Well, there is this very direct influence for the name, and that is Lost, the show. And it was basically like, I don't really know if we had any like ideas of what kind of music we wanted to do. We know we wanted to do something akin to like Carnival, Anne Boleyn, This Will Destroy You, again another one of my favorite bands. Something that kind of brought all them together, but we didn't really know like what we were going to be called. And I think we went through different names, like, because I had a few very temporary members. I think we were called Skyline at some point, Hearts and Minds, which I still really like. But yeah, we were all like on board for Voices from the Fuselage, which is, so Lost, the TV show, has, or did have, a magazine that was released like every month, alongside its original broadcast. And there was a section in it that was called Voices from the Fuselage, which was like an article piece where they'd publish fans' theories of what was going on. And that was always like my favorite kind of part of the magazine, because I think the great thing about that show was the mystery, and like, for some reason it just sounded like it was popping. It sounded like, that works. Now it's just way too long. But yeah, like I think the whole reference behind the name is like, the voices represent the people who didn't survive like the crash, and the people who are on the island that are the whisperers, and they can't move on because there's something holding them back from moving on. And obviously the whole show is about letting go, and that's something I resonate with very much. So like finding it difficult to let go of people and stuff,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the origin of the band name. But yeah, we were talking about potentially changing the name, but obviously that would be very sacrificial, because we'd effectively be a brand new band. So we're thinking of just rebranding to VFTF. So then we don't even have to say the name, and then people are like, of the fuselage.
It's funny you say that, because I was like afraid to say the second part of it, because I'm like, I'm gonna butcher this day. I'm gonna butcher this word.
But yeah, we're gonna be VFTF from now on. I think save us a whole lot of trouble.
I was gonna say that is pretty smart, because then it abbreviates it, makes it a little bit shorter. And I personally feel like changing a band name is the worst possible thing you can do, especially somebody that follows like hundreds and hundreds of bands. When you try to remember a band name and you're like, what was that band called again? And then you just totally, it disappeared.
Yeah,
So
and
if
they're
they
now
change
called
their name, it's
this.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was most people and I liked like 10 bands, it'd be no problem. But yeah, I'm like huge in the music. Do you have a favorite song that you've done in voices?
I do, but it's not released.
Oh, so I guess that
Yeah.
actually answers another question. You do have material on the way, maybe.
Yes, yeah, this lockdown has been very, very beneficial to me because I've had a lot of time to write and um but yeah, I mean, if I had to pick something that's already out, I mean, Oceans is always a big favorite, which is on our EP. Um, I'd say A Principal God, which is a personal favorite because it speaks to like my battle with faith. It's not much of a battle, it's just an exhaustion with faith, I guess. And from the second album, I really love Vault of Heaven and Vestibule of Hell. So like, because they're kind of a brother and sister. So I do really like both those songs, and they're both quite different. And that was kind of like an example of how we're kind of trying to change the way that we write and trying to branch out to different styles very carefully and very subtly, but like, yeah, definitely.
Would you say that unreleased song might be your favorite song you've ever done, or is there some other song that might be your favorite you've worked on?
I mean, I've got a lot of solo songs that I really, really love, and we can talk about that in a bit. But yeah,
All right.
like this new unreleased song, it's the latest song that I've done with voices, and it's like I said, I've just come out of a breakup, and like there's a lot of inspiration and like ammo, I guess, like fuel for the music, but it does touch on that a lot. I don't know, just I feel like every time I write a new song now, I'm just like, oh, this is my new favorite song. And it might be because it's just brand new and I just haven't gotten tired of it yet.
Yeah.
But this new one does feel very like different and like it's a little bit more poppy. So yeah, we're kind of going in a more poppy electro direction, but we've still got the heavy guitars and stuff. So hopefully it will
Nice.
appeal to the masses.
You were talking about your solo stuff. You want to tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I am in the process of like putting together an EP, like a solo debut release. Hopefully this year. I'm planning it. It better be this year. I've got plenty of time on my hands. So and it's been a case of like over like the last, I'd say last 10 years, I've got that much like material that I've written just by myself, and I'm just sitting on it, and I'm just like, why am I sitting on this? Like, and I think it's a case of like I'm just afraid in some ways because I'm solely responsible for it, and don't know if everyone's gonna like it or so. Like, yeah, I'm working on like I think it's like a 5-track EP at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah, and really, I've been making a lot of progress with it over the last few months because I've had literally nothing to do. But yeah, so that you'll be hearing more about that if people obviously stay tuned on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Instagram's probably the place I'm most active though. So
All right.
yeah, definitely stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you talked about sitting on some music. Me and my buddy and the online project, we've been sitting on this album. We've been trying to write for like 4 years.
Yeah.
So we need to get it out this year. I really would like to because we have at least half the album done. What we're doing, our idea is to do a different genre of metal for every song, make it
Oh,
interesting.
cool.
So
Yeah, I did think about it as well because I've got a lot of people who are always interested in having like me as a feature or like having
yeah,
me write something over their music. And I did think about the idea of potentially seeing if I can like with their obviously with their permission, but like creating like a compendium of the tracks that I've done and making an album out of that in some way, or like from here on, like any future tracks I work on,
yeah,
see if these people would be interested in making it like a compilation album for me personally, but like it can be their own release as well. but it'd be a good way of like compiling like what I've been doing over the years, and all the music that people don't know about, because people either look for Tesseract or Ashe O'Hara or voices, like they
Yeah.
don't think to search, like, or they'll see like, oh, he's featuring on this, but it's like a lot of the features I do, I'm the lead singer, like just the whole thing. So
Yeah.
I thought that might be a good idea.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. That way, if anyone wants to hear any of your collaborations or side stuff you're doing, that they can say, hey, now I can listen to all this stuff. I think that's a really good idea. I would say somewhere in the future, I'd love to have you on a particular song in the future if you're down for it.
Maybe I'll consider it. Yeah,
I
no, I do have a lot of people at the moment. Like I've got like a backlog, but I
yeah.
mean, I'm always, if it speaks to me, then definitely it'll be hard to stop me, I guess. But
Yeah. I was gonna say I gotta respect that you actually, check out the song and be like, do I fit with this? Does this fit with me type thing? Instead of just being on any song for money like some people might do, you know what I mean?
oh yeah, like I think that's a double-edged sword though, doing that, because I wouldn't say it wasn't like I was just doing it for the money, but like I did this one and I didn't really listen to the track beforehand, and
Yeah.
I found it very difficult to write for. And like a lot of the time now, I'll be like, can you send me like what you want me to do? And they'll be like, oh well, and I'm just like, well, I'm not going to do it unless you send me it, because I'm not going to charge you, or like, for a service that I don't feel passion in, just because it's just so much easier when you like the track, and like
Yeah,
you
I
feel,
agree, man.
yeah, like it's just makes so much more sense as well. Like why would you want to do, like, music is passion for a lot of people, like why would you want to take the passion away from it? And yeah, like it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
So yeah, I always listen to the track beforehand.
that's good. I've had a couple experiences with because I do vocals and lyrics. I'm not good at like playing guitar or any of that stuff. I'm not musically gifted. I've had stuff I went to do and I hear the music and I'm just like, my voice is not going to sound good on this, or I don't feel like I'm vibing good with this, or I don't think I would sound right on this. So I can understand. Or you're just completely like not interested in it, like, I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean, there has been times like that, yeah, for sure. I'm like, not at this time, thank you." But yeah, that's even more difficult than taking a job on, like telling people your song sucks, like.
or I guess in a nice way of saying it's just not working out for me, or it's not, I don't fit
Yeah,
on it type
obviously,
of thing.
I
Yeah,
jest.
I got you. If you could collab with one singer or band, who would it be and why? Probably a hard one.
Probably Muna. Just just the writing, just I feel like I could probably write something very similar, like akin to it, and I just love them, just everything about them. And
Nice.
being queer myself, it seems like it would make a lot of sense, because they are very political, like, and that is definitely kind of like direction I'd like to go in, like be a bit more outspoken about issues around the globe. Yeah.
All right. What is a genre that you haven't tried that you would like to maybe give it a shot?
I want to do a rap. I'd love to rap. I don't
That'd
think
be
my
that'd be
spoken,
interesting.
yeah, like, I don't think a spoken voice really is the right voice for it. Yeah, I'd like to do, I guess I'd like to do more of like a bitch track, like a spoken word, like cussing track, just because I think it would be really cool to do. I don't know
Yeah,
how it'd work, but if you don't try, you never know. So
that's a good way to look at it, man.
mm,
As far as writing lyrics, what would you describe your process as being for that?
um, sometimes it's just like an earworm that comes like to you, like I'll just get a melody in my head and I'm like, oh, I need to write some cool lyrics for that. A lot of the time I find I write lyrics before I write melodies. Um, so like again, personal life influences and inspirations are very paramount to me, because a lot of my music is very from the heart, like and a lot of my new music is very much about like relationships, microscopic issues like that, and depression and addiction and stuff like that. So but yeah, I'd say more often than not, it's kind of like poetry at first, and then you just kind of put music to it. And I tend to compose like my solo stuff. I compose like myself, and as you can probably see, I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it looks like you got your own like mini studio set up in there pretty much.
Yeah, very mini. Yeah, but this is the one. This is her. Yeah.
I kind of have something similar. I just got my mic and my stuff to record here.
Yeah,
Uh,
you don't need much, especially in this day and age. Like
yeah, that's true.
I've got my little Rode up here, and I've got a dynamic here just for fun. Like sometimes if I'm like, sometimes it's really hard to like go over there and like, because I like to get in the mood and stuff when I'm writing. So, and sometimes I'll just be writing lyrics here and I'm just like, like typing away. That's the way I tend to do it. So
What program do you use to record with?
I use Logic.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Mac fiend.
I use
Very much
Reaper.
so.
I use Reaper on my desktop for my
I've
stuff.
heard it's not too bad. I've been using Logic for almost 13 years now.
Nice.
So like, yeah, I just can't even fathom the idea of going back to like Cubase or any other DAW for that matter. Like, just yeah, I don't know how that would work.
Once all this madness is over, are you guys planning to resume touring?
Really don't know at this point, just because our guitarist is in Australia at the moment. We haven't been like huge tourers, but I do think it is integral for, we need to do it in order to get ourselves a bit more out there. So it's definitely something I'm hoping to do more of. We're going to live in a post-COVID world now, so hopefully things go back to normal. But
Yeah.
it'd be nice to be in a room full of people, like shoulder to shoulder again.
Yeah.
And it would take a lot for me to get back up to my live performance kind of quality. But yeah, it's definitely something we're eager to do, especially with new music coming out. So I feel like we take this opportunity where most of us aren't working, write loads of music, and then hopefully we'll have everything in place and we can possibly arrange a tour next year, I imagine. If I don't know what the situation is going to be like this year, but yeah, it's definitely something we're considering. Like, absolutely. I feel like we've recently had our passion reignited. So
That's good. You mentioned the single. Do you guys have plans to release like an EP or album in the future?
yeah, so like I think the plan is to do like an EP. I think we've noticed a lot recently. I just feel like albums sometimes can be a little bit too costly for what you actually get out of them, and I feel like a shorter release would probably benefit us more. And it means we can do it more frequently, which I think makes more sense with what's going on at the moment, like media, social media and stuff. Like, people forget about things so quickly, and it just feels like if we spread the release of this material out, like, maybe one EP every year, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, instead of like releasing 10 to 12 tracks every
Yeah.
2 years, to do like something a little bit more fleeting, but it'll be like, don't worry, there's more to come next year. And it'll be a lot more easier to manage that way. And again, it's just more cost effective. So yeah, I think I've got plans. We've got plans for potentially an EP.
Nice.
I think that's probably the direction we're going. So yeah, I'm EP crazy at the moment.
I
My
mean,
solo is going to be an EP.
I like EPs and full lengths. Just depends. I mean, I feel like EPs you can focus more on the quality, just like making fewer songs with the best quality you can do and releasing it sooner. And then if you were to record a full length and then just split it into two EPs, you would probably see more money back from that because you do like maybe like some pre-orders or something like that. So I think that's a smarter way to go about it. Honestly, I do love full length though, but sometimes I just want something that's like 20 or 30 minutes to listen to or
Mm,
whatever, you
yeah,
know. So it's more convenient, I think EPs are.
absolutely.
Are you guys independent or signed band?
But we are signed to White Star Records. Um, actually, in talks of them at the moment with them at the moment about signing me as a solo artist. So
That's
that's
cool.
possible. Yeah, like it would make more sense because I've got a really good working relationship with our manager. Um, we talk regularly, and I don't know, just it'd be hard to. I mean, the other option would be I've got two possibilities personally: either go with them or do it independently completely. And I've considered crowdfunding. There's obviously loads of different avenues for you to make money other than just sales. Patreon. You've got, I mean, the band are doing with like Twitch streaming now as well, which is something we're going to get a bit more heavy on in the near future, I think. But they're things that I can do as a signed artist as well. So it's just, I guess it's a case of just sitting down and having that discussion. But it won't be any different to what I'm experiencing now in the band. It will just be me, like on my own. So yeah, good label, good label.
That's cool. What's your favorite way to listen to music? Like vinyls, speakers?
Ears,
Oh, okay.
definitely in the ears. Um, I don't know. I'm very digital, like um, Spotify, SoundCloud, Bandcamp,
Yeah, I
whatever.
got you.
I've never been like a vintage listener. I mean, I've got vinyls um, of my own albums as well. But yeah, like uh, it just, I don't know. I tried to keep up with the times, and it's just so much easier to stream music, isn't it? Like,
Oh yeah, I'm a big Bandcamp and Spotify guy myself.
mm,
So it's a good place to find new music too. Definitely Bandcamp because they always give you what the band actually would recommend, they sound similar to or they like, and then you can search in the different genres and find a lot of other quality bands out there also.
yeah, I mean that's literally how I found Muna. Was on. I used to have Apple Music, and I just went on the browse option, and they were there. That's the thing. You don't get that with physical uh, goods. You can't. There's never like, you like this band, we should check this out. Like, so it just makes more sense, and especially for someone who is like an avid music listener,
Yeah.
it just is tailored for people like that. So
So I'm curious, what's your favorite food?
um, probably anything Asian. I love Italian food, but I love Japanese food. I love Indian food. I'll probably say Japanese is my ultimate fave.
Nice.
Just just it's not just a feast for the stomach. I know it sounds so cliche, but it's a feast for the eyes. Like, it's about the presentation and like the way it looks. It's just amazing.
I was gonna say I also enjoy some Japanese food, but I'm also a big fan of Japanese culture. That's part of the reason on my channel. I also talk about anime and manga. Are you familiar with any of that stuff by chance?
I am familiar. It's not something I frequent. I've watched, I think, the first season of Attack on Titan.
Nice.
I've recently been made aware of Mirai Nikki, which I've been told I need to watch because there's like, I love endings, like anything that is a good ending, especially what I call a you ending. Probably have to get rid of that. Just, an ending that it doesn't give you what you want. It doesn't give you what you expect. It gives
Yeah.
you what just it is what it is. Like, and apparently Mirai Nikki has that. But yeah, I mean, I love, again, yeah, I love Japanese culture.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love Japanese structures. I love the way that they build, like generally upwards. But yeah, like there is something very admirable about just everything to do with Japan, with the Japanese culture. Like,
Yeah. They're very respectful. and they stick to their traditions. I've always wanted to go to Japan since I was 18, so I'm hoping in a couple years I can finally go. It'd be really awesome.
Yeah, I would love to go to Japan. I'm also a big Pokemon fan, so like, and they have Pokemon centers. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be such a tourist.
there's probably whole stores dedicated to that, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Like, that's what I'm planning on. Like, I'm gonna go get some sashimi. I'm gonna get some katsu, and then I'm gonna go to the Pokemon Center. And yeah, I'm a big Pokemon card collector, so like, it just yeah, it screams my name, Japan. Like,
Yeah, same here. You said you watched the first season of Attack on Titan. Did you enjoy it?
I did. It was about 6 years ago I watched it. I did start watching it again recently, and realized that I don't remember much of it, but I do like the concept of it.
Yeah.
And I did hear that this guy told me that a main character got killed off recently, or a favorite character got killed off recently in the latest season, and I was just like, oh, it sounds sad. But yeah, it never really grabbed me to the point where I'm like, I need to watch this more. Like, I find it really difficult to get into animated programs. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that kind of like, there's like a veil like preventing you from getting too attached, like, but I don't know.
I was gonna say that's understandable. I know it's not for everybody. Some people like a couple shows, some people hate it. That's totally fine. I understand.
Yeah.
But if I could recommend one show, and you even said like maybe not the picture perfect happy ending. I don't know if you ever heard of Cowboy Bebop. That's one of my favorites, and it's like
You're gonna
really
have
good.
to say that again. What was that?
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
Cowboy. I'm writing this down. Cowboy B was it a Bebob?
Yes, sir.
Cowboy Bebop.
I believe it's a roughly about 24 episodes, so it's not too long. And each episode is like kind of episodic. Like it has a main story or main uh, thing, but it goes. And the thing that I love about it, the characters are very cool and interesting. And it has like a whole soundtrack to it based off like around jazz type stuff. So it's like a
Okay.
whole you might enjoy it, but it's really good show. So if I could
Is it
recommend one,
like, are we talking like sci-fi? Are we talking like drama? Are we talking comedy,
it's like
action, adventure?
it's I would say it's a sci-fi because it takes place in like space in the future.
Mate, I'm sold. Like, that'll do me.
Well,
Yeah, big sci-fi nut. So
well, you might enjoy it, man. Hopefully you can check it out and you like it.
Cowboy Bebop.
The theme song is
Sounds like a
amazing.
dance.
Yeah, I know.
Get ready to do the Cowboy Bebop. But yeah,
What's your favorite animal?
my favorite animal, probably a koala.
Nice.
Just I think they're really cute, and they're clingy like me. So yeah, and they give you venereal disease just like me. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I held one though, and that was amazing. They're just so placid and cute. Like, yeah, they are my favorite animal.
That's cool, man. If you don't mind me asking, what was your job before you did voices and Tesseract?
Turning into my mother. No, I mean, I was a student until I was 24, so I had like temp jobs and like fleeting jobs that I had here and there. But I never really had like a career. Still don't. It's great. Uh, but yeah, trying to think. Did bar work. Did a lot of admin, customer service, and stuff like that. But nothing interesting, like, at all.
Do you have a guilty pleasure band?
I don't know. I'm not guilty to like any band that I like. I feel like, because I do take music quite seriously. Like, if I said to someone like, I like this band, they're like, oh my god, how embarrassing. I'm like, what? They're amazing. And what? You don't like it? You can't see it. That's fine. Poor you. But no, I think the closest thing to it would be Miley Cyrus's new album. But again, I'm not even guilty about liking it because I think it's a good album. So
Yeah, That's good that you don't really, I mean, you're just pretty much like, hey, these are the bands I like. I guess for me, I don't know if I have a specific band, but it's just like the band that when you tell your friends and they find out that you like them, they're just like, are you serious? Like they wouldn't picture that you would listen to it and enjoy it. That's probably what it is because it doesn't fit your personality type or something. I don't know. But
Ah, see, well, that's where you're going wrong. You need to lower your friends' expectation of you to such a level that nothing surprises them anymore.
yeah, I
That's what you
do
need to
have,
do.
that is true. I did have one time because I primarily listen to metal. I like a little bit of everything, like every genre. I've never really been able to get into country. I tried. I even had an ex-girlfriend that liked country and I tried my best, but I just couldn't get into it. But I blasted I'm sure you're probably familiar with the singer Sia.
Yep.
Yeah, I blasted her CD in the car, and the look my buddy gave me when we're driving the car, I was just laughing. I'm singing with it and everything. And he's just like, I don't understand what's going on because normally I like blast like death metal in my car or whatever. But I was just, hey man, this is me. I'm having a good time. So it's always good to
You
be,
and me.
yeah, it's always good to listen to a wide variety of things. So
Yeah, no, that's it. I think most people who look at you like that are the people who are loyalists, genre loyalists that only listen to like
yeah,
one thing, like one
the
style of music.
gatekeepers. Oh, if you listen to this, you can't listen to that. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you can listen to whatever you want. That's how it should be. What is some good advice you would tell someone that's looking to sing in a band or start off their own stuff?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. Have a really tragic backstory. That helps. Maybe work well with others, and if you're a bad person, try to fix that immediately. Um, I don't know, just practice. It's that whole 10,000 hours thing. It's like just practice, practice, practice. Like do what you love, do something unique, do something different, and be honest. Like I think there's a lot of people that think that they are one thing and they have to showcase a certain thing, and then you're like, well, that's not you. Like do what you want to do. Like
Yeah.
that's
Do you
all
have,
the advice I can think of.
well, that was good advice. I think so. Do you have any final words you'd like to say to all your fans watching this video?
Tell Cersei I want her to know it was me. No. Just that more is coming, basically. Like, I've got my solo stuff that I'm working towards releasing this year, and hopefully a new release from Voices as well. Whether that is in the shape of a single or something more remains to be seen, just because we've got obviously, got to match up everyone's kind of schedules. And like Josh is down under. He's been stuck in Australia since like for over a year now, I think. So if he doesn't come back with an Australian accent, I'm going to be really disappointed. If you want to follow us, you can find us at VFTF on Instagram. You can find us at Voices from the Fuselage on Facebook and Twitter. You can follow me at Ashe O'Hara on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook and again, Twitter, Ashe O'Hara. That is without the apostrophe. And yeah, thank you for all the continued support for all my listeners and fans. So thank you.
I'll drop the links to some of those things or all of them in the description of this video. Just wanted to say one final thing. I probably would say that you're one of my top favorite vocalists. Just putting that out there for you.
Oh, thank you so much. That means the world to me. And
You're
thank you.
very
You've
welcome,
just
man.
listened to me. You've listened to me waffle on for an hour and probably destroyed that whole image of who I am to you.
No, I still think you're. No, I just know more about you, and I think you're a cool guy. So,
Oh, thank you. No, thanks so much.
but, thanks so much. I guess we're gonna close out this video. I've been the Jam, and we'll see you guys next time.